Okay, I've just done another 5-mile loop. It's 9 o'clock in the morning, and even though it's not raining, my dropped my phone. Anyway, even though it's not raining, my legs, my pants are soaked. So toward the end of this, there's a path that Google says you can walk on, and it turns out it's an old train track. They removed the rails, but the wood from the train track's still there on that path, and it's old. So it said that I would be able to come along there, and then it said there would be a path that would jut up toward the road, toward this road that I'm on right now. And I got to where it said it was going to jut up, and there was nothing there. It was bad. It was all forest. It was that type of stuff. Pretty thick. So I kept going. I looked on the satellite view, and the satellite view showed that there's trees all over, but that there was a clearing up to the road ahead, a wide clearing. So I thought, well, I'll just walk up to there. And I found the clearing, and what it was somebody had cleared the land to put those giant power line telephone poles in. And so that clearing goes all the way down, but it is by no means clear, and it's got little streams running through it, and it's got brambles and vines and bushes, and it's bad. Anyway, as I'm walking along the railroad tracks, I decided I'd take some time to complain to the Lord, and I'm learning that God actually likes when you complain to Him. He doesn't mind that at all. It's basically the same thing as questions. As long as you are doing it seeking earnestly, He's okay with you telling Him exactly how you feel. In fact, He would rather have that than to have you being fake and pretending that you're not upset and pretending that you don't understand, or that you do understand. He'd rather talk it through with you. So along those tracks, I complained to him a bit about how hard it is to talk to Him, to communicate with Him, to get on the same wavelength, to get answers from Him. It's just very, very difficult. And it's, first of all, you got to get your heart into tune, and then the answers that come take some spiritual effort. And if I am going to be having regular communion with God, man, that seems difficult. It really seems difficult. So I talked through that on my walk, and I also talked back to myself a little bit, because I understand that God has been teaching me along the way how to communicate with Him and how to hear His voice. And that just the fact that we are here in a telestial world, and that we can have a path to commune with God and communicate with Him is a blessing. But it doesn't keep me from complaining about how hard it is. Now, as I saw on Google Maps that I had to cut up through the forest, and I started doing that. I even dropped my phone into a stream along the way. But it was maybe a couple hundred yards of uphill through pretty dense weeds and bushes and streams and things like that. I cut through there, and after a couple hundred yards of a real literal uphill battle through all of that, I came up on this nice road, and I thought to myself, I think I just got taught a lesson. there's that struggle, and eventually that struggle pays off dividends quite a bit. And eventually, what was really difficult to you, and this is by the grace of God, becomes something that is no longer difficult and becomes second nature to you. And I remember over the last couple of years, as I have looked at things that look difficult and look like struggles that I had to overcome, and that I needed to reteach myself, and I needed to rewire my brain and go reread back through the scriptures to properly understand things. I thought, you know what, this is going to really be painful, and it's going to take me forever to get there. But it wasn't nearly as bad as I thought. And after I had gone through that with one concept and another, and with one thing about my soul and repentance and where I needed to be and what I needed to do, God's led me through that. And then he's led me on to the next thing, which was greater than my previous state, greater than where I had been. And so those little, what we look as hardships, end up being shortcuts. They're shortcuts. But it takes a little bit of struggle, and most of that struggle is us. And us understanding that we don't, we're enemies to God naturally. And so doing some of this work is going to require some effort out of us, but it's going to pay dividends, and it's going to level us up to somewhere where we can actually communicate with God. So I'm very hopeful. And I'm hopeful because I know the path that I've been on for a while. And do I hear God? Yeah, I've heard him a lot. Does he talk to me? Yeah, he talks to me a lot. Does he ever keep himself from me? No, I keep myself from him. Is he ever closed off to hearing from me? Nope. He's not. Is he ever closed off to communicating with me? Nope, he's not. And so, anyway, complaining to the Lord, that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. Asking questions, figuring out where you are, and helping you to understand his mind and where he wants you, where you are, and where you want to be. It's a good, fruitful process. So even though it's very similar to my shortcut through the forest with some difficulties, I asked him, okay, help me find a path through this stuff, and I got through it. And God's good. Have a good morning.